Donald Trump just posted the most racist content ever shared by a sitting president. An image depicting Barack and Michelle Obama as monkeys appeared on his Truth Social account Thursday night. And what happened next exposed a massive crack in the Republican Party that nobody saw coming. Tim Scott, Trump's closest black ally in the Senate, the man who was on Trump's shortlist for vice president, publicly demanded Trump take it down. He called it the most racist thing I've seen out of this White House. Other Republican senators piled on. The White House scrambled to explain it away, and after hours of mounting pressure, the post finally disappeared. But here's what makes this story absolutely explosive. The White House claimed Trump never even saw the post before it went up, which raises a terrifying question. Who controls Donald Trump's social media account? And if Trump himself didn't post this, who did? And what else are they posting without his knowledge? This isn't just another Trump controversy. This is a window into chaos inside the White House, a Republican Party starting to fracture, and a president who might not even control his own social media accounts. And when you understand what really happened here, you'll see why this matters far more than just one offensive post. Let me walk you through exactly what happened, who said what, and why the White House's explanation makes absolutely no sense. Thursday night, February 6th, 2026. A post appears on Donald Trump's Truth Social account. It's a video meme based on The Lion King, depicting Trump as the king of the jungle. But there's a problem, a massive, career-ending problem. The video shows Barack Obama and Michelle Obama depicted as monkeys or apes. Not cartoon characters, not political caricature, literal monkeys. This is the oldest, most vicious racist trope in American history. Comparing Black people to monkeys or apes has been used for centuries to dehumanize and demean Black Americans. It's not edgy humor. It's not political commentary. It's straight-up racism, pure and simple. The post went relatively under the radar at first. It was posted late Thursday night when most people weren't paying attention. But by Friday morning, people started noticing, and once they noticed, all hell broke loose. The first major Republican to speak out was Tim Scott, the senior senator from South Carolina and the only Black Republican in the Senate. Scott's response was immediate and unequivocal. Praying it was fake because it's the most racist thing I've seen out of this White House. The president should remove it. Read that again. The most racist thing I've seen out of this White House. That's not some progressive activist or Democratic opponent saying that. That's Tim Scott, one of Trump's most loyal allies, a man who campaigned for Trump, defended Trump through 2 impeachments, and was seriously considered for vice president. Tim Scott doesn't criticize Trump. He's spent years defending Trump against accusations of racism. He's been Trump's validator, the Black Republican who Trump points to as proof he's not racist. And now Tim Scott is publicly calling out Trump for posting the most racist content he's ever seen from this administration. That statement opened the floodgates. Once Scott spoke up, other Republican senators felt safe piling on. Senator Roger Wicker from Mississippi. This is totally unacceptable. The president should take it down and apologize. Senator Pete Ricketts from Nebraska. Even if this was a Lion King meme, a reasonable person sees the racist context to this. The White House should do what anyone does when they make a mistake. Remove this and apologize. Senator Katie Britt from Alabama. This content was rightfully removed, should have never been posted to begin with, and is not who we are as a nation. These aren't moderate Republicans. These aren't never-Trumpers. These are solid Trump allies from deep red states publicly rebuking the president for posting racist content. And here's what makes their response so significant. They didn't wait for Trump to take it down first and then quietly distance themselves. They publicly demanded he remove it while it was still up. They put their names on record calling it racist before Trump had even responded. That almost never happens. Republican senators have spent years making excuses for Trump's most controversial statements. They've perfected the art of the non-answer. I haven't seen the tweet. I don't comment on the president's social media. I'm focused on policy, not Twitter drama. But this time they couldn't dodge. This was so blatantly, undeniably racist that even Trump's most loyal supporters had to condemn it publicly or be associated with it forever. Even Chuck Schumer, the Senate Minority Leader and Trump's constant Democratic opponent, weighed in. Racist, vile, abhorrent. This is dangerous and degrades our country. Where are Senate Republicans? The president must immediately delete the post and apologize to Barack and Michelle Obama, two great Americans who make Donald Trump look like a small, envious man. Schumer's statement is interesting because he specifically called out Senate Republicans. He was daring them to stay silent, to defend the indefensible, to show their true colors. And when Republican after Republican condemned the post, it showed that even Trump's most loyal allies have a line they won't cross. So the White House had to respond. And their response is where this story gets really interesting. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt tried to explain it away. She claimed the post was just a meme that was part of a video depicting Trump as the king of the jungle from The Lion King. She tried to frame it as innocent fan content, just another funny meme, nothing to see here. But nobody bought it, not even Republican senators. Pete Ricketts directly responded to that excuse. Even if this was a Lion King meme, a reasonable person sees the racist context to this. Think about that. The White House says it's just a Lion King meme. A Republican senator says even if that's true, it's still obviously racist. That's a Republican senator calling out the White House's excuse as bullshit in real time. The post stayed up for several hours, even after the backlash started building. This is important. The controversy was growing. Republican senators were publicly condemning it. The media was covering it, and the post still stayed up. Why? If this was just an innocent mistake, why not take it down immediately? Why let it sit there for hours while the controversy grew? Finally, after mounting pressure from his own party, the post was deleted. And then came the White House's second explanation, delivered through a Trump advisor to Fox News. The president did not see the video before it was posted. Let that sink in. The official White House position is that Donald Trump did not see the post before it went up on his personal Truth Social account. This raises absolutely massive questions that the White House has not answered. First question, if Trump didn't post it, who did? Who has access to the president's personal social media account? How many people can post as Donald Trump without him knowing? Second question, if someone else is posting on Trump's account without his knowledge, what else have they posted? How do we know which posts are actually from Trump and which are from whoever controls his account? Third question, why does someone else have unsupervised access to the president's social media account in the first place? This isn't some corporate Twitter account managed by a social media team. This is the personal account of the President of the United States. Every post has diplomatic implications, market implications, political implications. Fourth question, if Trump didn't see it before it was posted, when did he see it? Did he see it during the hours it was up and decide to leave it? Or did he only learn about it after the backlash started? Fifth question, if this person posted racist content without Trump's knowledge, are they still employed? Have they been fired? Are there new protocols to prevent this from happening again? The White House hasn't answered any of these questions. They just put out the statement that Trump didn't see it and apparently hope that's the end of the story. But it's not the end of the story. It's the beginning of a much bigger question about who's actually running Trump's social media presence, and by extension, his public communications. Let's think about what we know about Trump's relationship with social media. Trump is famous for his social media presence. He built his political brand on Twitter. He became president partly because of his ability to communicate directly with voters through social media, bypassing traditional media filters. During his first term, Trump personally tweeted constantly, often late at night, often while watching television, often in response to things he saw on Fox News minutes earlier. The tweets had his voice, his style, his spelling errors, his random capitalizations. Everyone knew when Trump himself was tweeting versus when his staff was tweeting. Staff tweets were polished, grammatically correct, on message. Trump tweets were raw, emotional, stream of consciousness, often misspelled. After Trump was banned from Twitter following January 6th, he launched Truth Social as his personal platform. The whole point was that he would have complete control. Nobody could ban him. Nobody could moderate him. It was his platform to say whatever he wanted. So the idea that someone else is posting on Trump's Truth Social account without his knowledge contradicts everything we know about how Trump uses social media and why he created Truth Social in the first place. But let's say the White House is telling the truth. Let's say Trump really didn't see this video before it was posted to his account. That means Trump has delegated control of his personal social media presence to staffers who can post whatever they want without presidential approval. That means there's no review process, no oversight, no quality control before content goes out under the president's name. Think about how insane that is. Every word the President of the United States says publicly is supposed to be carefully considered because it has consequences. Foreign leaders analyze presidential statements for policy signals. Markets react to presidential comments. Allies and enemies parse every word for meaning. And we're supposed to believe that random staffers can post videos on the president's account depicting former presidents as monkeys without anyone checking with Trump first? Either the White House is lying and Trump did see the video before it was posted, or the White House is telling the truth and Trump has completely lost control of his own social media presence. Neither explanation is good. Either Trump knowingly posted racist content and the White House is lying to create deniability, or Trump's staff is posting inflammatory content without his knowledge, and he doesn't even know what's being said in his name. Let's talk about Tim Scott specifically, because his role in this story reveals something important about Republican Party dynamics. Tim Scott has been one of Trump's most loyal defenders. He ran for president in 2024, dropped out early, and immediately endorsed Trump. He campaigned for Trump across the country. He defended Trump against every attack, every controversy, every scandal. Trump rewarded that loyalty. Scott was on the shortlist for vice president. When Trump ultimately chose J.D. Vance, Scott was given a consolation prize, chair of the National Republican Senatorial Committee, the campaign arm responsible for winning Senate seats. Scott has positioned himself as the reasonable Black Republican voice, someone who can defend Trump against racism accusations while being Black himself. He's been Trump's validator, his shield against charges of racism. So when Tim Scott publicly calls out Trump for posting the most racist thing I've seen out of this White House, that means something. Scott doesn't have the luxury of calling Trump racist over minor things or ambiguous statements. He spent years defending Trump. His entire political brand is tied to supporting Trump while being Black. For Scott to go public with this condemnation means the content was so blatantly, undeniably racist that he couldn't defend it even if he wanted to, and he didn't want to be associated with it for even 1 minute. This is actually the second time recently that Scott has broken with Trump. Just days earlier, Scott contradicted the White House on the investigation into Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. The Justice Department opened an investigation into Powell, claiming he might have committed crimes during his congressional testimony. This was widely seen as Trump using the DOJ to go after Powell for not cutting interest rates fast enough. Scott, who chairs the Senate Banking Committee and heard Powell's testimony directly, said publicly, "I found him to be inept at doing his job, but ineptness or being incompetent is not a criminal act." That's Scott directly contradicting the Trump administration's position. He's saying Powell didn't commit any crimes, which undercuts the entire justification for the DOJ investigation. So within 1 week, Tim Scott has publicly broken with Trump twice, once on the Powell investigation, once on the racist Obama post. These aren't minor disagreements. These are public rebukes from one of Trump's most important Black allies. This suggests that Trump's grip on the Republican Party might not be as absolute as it appears. Even his most loyal supporters have breaking points. Even senators who owe their positions to Trump's support will push back when he crosses certain lines. Other Republican senators are watching this closely. If Tim Scott can publicly criticize Trump and survive politically, maybe they can too. If Roger Wicker and Pete Ricketts can call out Trump's posts as racist without facing backlash, maybe the party is ready to establish some boundaries. This could be the beginning of a shift, where Republican senators start exercising more independence from Trump, instead of reflexively defending everything he does. Now let's talk about what this incident reveals about the Obama relationship, because the choice to depict the Obamas specifically is significant. Trump has been obsessed with Barack Obama for over a decade. He launched his political career with the racist birther conspiracy, claiming Obama wasn't born in America and therefore wasn't a legitimate president. He spent years demanding Obama's birth certificate. Even after Obama released it, Trump continued questioning its authenticity. This birther conspiracy was itself deeply racist. Nobody demanded birth certificates from white presidents. Nobody questioned whether they were really American. The entire birther movement was based on the racist assumption that a black man with a foreign-sounding name couldn't possibly be a legitimate American president. Trump eventually admitted Obama was born in America, but he's never apologized for spending years promoting a racist conspiracy theory. And he's never stopped being obsessed with Obama. During Trump's first term, he spent enormous energy trying to undo Obama's legacy. He pulled out of the Iran deal. He tried to repeal Obamacare. He rolled back Obama-era environmental regulations. He rescinded DACA protections. He withdrew from the Paris Climate Agreement. He reversed Obama's Cuba policy. It wasn't just policy disagreement. It was personal. Trump seemed driven by a need to erase everything Obama accomplished, to prove that Obama's presidency didn't matter, that Trump could wipe it all away. Michelle Obama has been equally targeted. Trump has made comments about her appearance. He's questioned her popularity. He's attacked her initiatives. During the 2024 campaign, when Michelle Obama gave speeches supporting Kamala Harris, Trump responded with personal attacks. So this post depicting both Obamas as monkeys isn't random. It's the culmination of Trump's decade-long obsession with delegitimizing and dehumanizing the Obamas. The birther conspiracy questioned Obama's humanity by claiming he wasn't really American. This post questions their humanity more directly by depicting them as animals. The symbolism is obvious and intentional. Whether Trump personally posted it or someone on his staff did, it represents what Trump actually believes about the Obamas. You don't accidentally post something comparing your predecessor to monkeys. That content has to be created, selected, and published. At some point, someone decided this was appropriate content to share. Let's also examine the political consequences of this incident beyond just the immediate controversy. Trump is currently trying to pass major legislation through Congress. He needs Republican unity to push through his agenda. He needs every Republican senator on board for budget reconciliation, for judicial confirmations, for his policy priorities. But when Republican senators are publicly rebuking him for racist posts, that unity is threatened. Senators who just called the president's post totally unacceptable and demanded an apology are less likely to rubber stamp his next controversial nominee or support his most aggressive policies. Trump is also trying to expand the Republican coalition to include more minority voters. He made gains with Black and Hispanic voters in 2024 compared to 2020. His campaign spent millions on minority outreach. He appointed diverse cabinet members. He's trying to rebrand Republicans as a multiracial working-class party. All of that gets undermined when the president posts content depicting Black Americans as monkeys. It doesn't matter if Trump personally posted it or not. It went out under his name from his account. That's what voters will remember. Democrats are already using this incident in campaign ads. Every competitive Senate race in 2026 will feature this controversy. Democratic candidates will ask Republican opponents, "Do you condemn the president's racist post? Will you support someone who depicts Black Americans this way?" Republican candidates will be forced to either defend Trump or distance themselves from him. Either answer costs them votes. Defending him costs minority votes and moderate suburban votes. Distancing from him costs Trump base votes. This is a perfect wedge issue for Democrats because there's no good answer for Republicans. The post was so obviously racist that defending it is political suicide. But criticizing Trump risks alienating the base. So Republicans are stuck trying to thread the needle, condemn the post, but still support Trump overall. Tim Scott is trying to model this approach. He forcefully condemned the post, but he's not calling for Trump's resignation or questioning his fitness for office. He's treating it as a mistake that needs to be corrected, not as evidence of Trump's character. But that position gets harder to maintain if this keeps happening. If more racist or offensive content appears on Trump's account, at some point it was a mistake, stops being credible. There's also the international dimension to consider. America's adversaries are watching this controversy and using it for propaganda purposes. Russian state media is already running stories about chaos in the Trump White House and racial tensions in America. Chinese media is highlighting the incident as evidence of American decline and moral bankruptcy. Middle Eastern media is using it to counter American criticism of human rights abuses. When the President of the United States posts content depicting his predecessor as a monkey, it damages American credibility on the world stage. Foreign leaders question whether they can trust someone who posts this kind of content. Allies wonder if America is a reliable partner. Adversaries see weakness and division to exploit. The White House's explanation makes this worse, not better. Saying Trump didn't see the post before it went up raises questions about White House competence and whether Trump is actually in control of his own administration. Foreign intelligence services are definitely asking, who controls Trump's social media? Can we manipulate what gets posted to his account? Can we create division by getting inflammatory content posted under his name? If random staffers can post videos to the president's account without oversight, that's a massive security vulnerability. Imagine if a foreign agent got a job in the White House social media office. They could post whatever they wanted under the president's name, and the White House would just say, Trump didn't see it. Let's talk about what happens next, because this story isn't over. First, will anyone be fired? The White House says Trump didn't see the video before it was posted, which means someone else posted it. That person either showed catastrophically bad judgment or actively wanted to cause controversy. Either way, they should probably be fired, but we haven't heard anything about consequences for whoever posted this. No resignations announced, no staff changes, no new procedures put in place. If there are no consequences, that sends a message. Post whatever you want on the president's account, even if it's racist, even if it causes an international incident, even if senators from your own party condemn it. Nothing will happen to you. Second, will this happen again? If the same people have the same access with the same lack of oversight, similar content could appear in the future. Maybe next time it's anti-Semitic instead of anti-Black. Maybe it's Islamophobic. Maybe it's misogynistic. The specific target might change, but the pattern of posting inflammatory content without consequences could continue. Third, how will this affect Trump's relationship with Black voters and Black Republicans specifically? Trump has been trying to court Black voters with criminal justice reform, economic opportunity zones, and funding for historically Black colleges. But you can't court Black voters while posting content depicting Black people as monkeys. You can't claim to value Black Americans while dehumanizing the first Black president and First Lady. Black Republicans like Tim Scott are in an impossible position. They've built their brands on the idea that the Republican Party isn't racist, that Trump isn't racist, that conservative policies are good for Black communities. This incident makes their jobs exponentially harder. Fourth, what does this mean for the 2026 midterms? Republicans have a narrow Senate majority. They can't afford to lose seats. But controversial incidents like this make it harder to win competitive races. Senators up for re-election in swing states are going to be asked constantly about this post. Do you condemn it? Do you still support Trump? What does this say about the Republican Party? Every answer costs them votes somewhere. It's a no-win situation created by the White House's inability to control its own social media. Here's the bottom line. Either Trump posted racist content depicting the Obamas as monkeys, and the White House is lying about it, or Trump's staff posted racist content without his knowledge, and he's lost control of his own social media account. Neither explanation is acceptable. Neither explanation inspires confidence. A president who posts racist content is unfit for office. A president who doesn't know what's being posted in his name is incompetent. The White House wants us to believe the incompetence explanation because it's slightly less damaging than the alternative. But incompetence at this level is its own kind of scandal. This wasn't some minor mistake. This was posting content using the most vicious racist imagery in American history to attack the first Black president and First Lady. And according to the White House, nobody checked with Trump before hitting send. That level of dysfunction and lack of oversight is terrifying. What else is being done in Trump's name without his knowledge? What other decisions are being made by staffers without presidential approval? How much of Trump's agenda is actually Trump, and how much is whoever happens to control his accounts and his access? Republican senators are starting to ask these questions. Tim Scott's public condemnation wasn't just about one racist post. It was a signal that even Trump's most loyal allies have limits. Even senators who owe their careers to Trump will push back when he crosses certain lines. The fact that the post stayed up for hours after the backlash started shows that either the White House didn't care about the controversy or they couldn't make a decision quickly enough to shut it down. Both possibilities are concerning. The fact that no one has been fired shows that either the White House doesn't think this was a serious problem or they can't identify who's responsible. Both possibilities are concerning. The fact that the White House's only explanation is Trump didn't see it shows that either they're lying or they've admitted Trump doesn't control his own social media. Both possibilities are concerning. This is what chaos looks like. This is what happens when there's no adult supervision, no quality control, no accountability. Content gets posted that never should have been created. Controversy erupts. Republican senators revolt, and the White House response is just to delete it and claim the president didn't know. That's not good enough. Americans deserve to know who controls the president's communications. They deserve to know there's oversight and accountability. They deserve to know this won't happen again. Right now, they have none of those assurances. They just have a deleted post, a non-apology, and a promise that Trump didn't see it. That's not leadership. That's not competence. That's not acceptable. And judging by the reaction from Republican senators, even Trump's most loyal allies are starting to realize it.